Is Liv Morgan returning at the Royal Rumble? Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? In this video, I will be giving you 5 returns for this year's Royal Rumble match. But first, if you want to see the 5 greatest returns of all time in the Royal Rumble, click the link up in the corner. So there have been some of the greatest moments in the history of wrestling stemming from returns at the Royal Rumble, whether it's John Cena returning from a torn pec in about 4 months, whether it's Triple H coming back in his iconic outfit, whether it's Edge coming back after retiring from wrestling for 11 years. The returns in the Royal Rumble are always the greatest, and I think we're going to get a bunch of really good ones on the women's side of things for the Royal Rumble. Now I know, I just made a video for our social media that said there weren't going to be any returns for the Royal Rumble match. Well, if you were actually paying attention to that video, you dummy, you would have seen that I said it was for the men's match, because I don't think there's going to be any returns for the men's Royal Rumble match. However, I think there's going to be some for the women. So coming in at number 5 is going to be Mickie James. Mickie James is one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. She has held 10 titles across 9 different promotions in her career. Mickie James wrestled for the WWE from 2005 up until 2010, where she was on the indies up until about 2017. And from 2017 to 2020, she wrestled for WWE. After she was done with WWE in 2020, she would sign with Impact Wrestling. However, in 2021 and in 2022, Mickie James appeared in both Women's Royal Rumble matches. Most notably, she appeared in the 2022 Royal Rumble match as the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Champion, truly one of the most craziest things that has ever happened in the WWE. Mickie James would be a great wrestler to bring back to the WWE, not just to give some depth to the women's roster, but she's going to be a great veteran mind to have backstage for the women as well. Now, according to some reports, she is not under contract with Impact Wrestling currently, which means she can sign with the WWE. It's also worth noting that Mickie James is married to the current SmackDown GM Nick Aldis. So Mickie James would be a great addition to the women's roster on all fronts. Number 4, Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné is easily one of the top women's wrestlers in the entire world today. She's been having an insane run in New Japan ever since she left WWE. That was until she suffered an injury. Mercedes Moné wrestled under the name Sasha Banks from WWE in 2012 to 2022. After she left the company, she wanted to fulfill her dreams by wrestling in Japan. She competed in Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and she was even the second ever IWGP Women's World Champion. Surprisingly, Mercedes Moné has never won the Women's Royal Rumble match, despite being at the top of the division ever since the women's match was introduced in 2018. Moné is a 6-time WWE Women's World Champion and would be a massive signing and would be a huge help for the Raw Women's division. Furthermore, she's only 31 years old, which means she is just entering her prime, which is pretty crazy to think about because she has already accomplished so much. Reportedly, she is not under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling currently, which means she can debut at the WWE Royal Rumble. However, toward the end of her run with WWE, the company just simply failed her. However, with Triple H being in charge of creative, the women's division as a whole has gotten a lot better and it's on a good trajectory. Mercedes Moné was a massive star while in WWE, and once she left, she became an even bigger star. She bet on herself outside of the company, so she would be a huge get for WWE. If they were able to bring her back to the company, she would be a huge help for the Raw Women's division as well. Coming in at number 3 is going to be AJ Lee. AJ Lee was with WWE from 2009 up until 2015. Lee was a 3-time Divas champion and always remained at the top of the women's division. However, in 2015, she retired from wrestling. Now, there's a few different reports going around about why she left the company, but it seems like it was based off of a couple of different things. She sustained a pretty tough injury, her mental health, and her husband CM Punk having a fallout with WWE. And although she hasn't wrestled a single match since 2015, she still remains a fan favorite. So now would be a great time for her to make her return to WWE, plus her husband CM Punk just made his return to the company, which is something that no one thought would ever happen. Also, she's only 36 years old, which is in the middle of her prime, so I'm sure she's got a lot of gas left in the tank, so I think she can offer a lot to the women's division. AJ Lee returning to WWE would be a massive moment. She would make so many fans happy, and I think it would go down as one of the greatest Royal Rumble returns ever. Number 2, Carmella. Carmella is a wrestler who found her footing over the past couple of years despite being with WWE for a decade. Most recently, she's a Money in the Bank winner and a former SmackDown Women's Champion. However, she's been absent from the WWE for almost a year due to maternity leave. So what better time for Carmella to make her return than at this year's Royal Rumble? Carmella would be a great fit for the Raw Women's Division. She would add so much charisma to them because the Raw Women's Division is seriously lacking. So Carmella returning at the Royal Rumble would give a nice bump to this Raw Women's Division, and it would be a great return altogether. Coming in at number 1 is going to be Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan has been with the WWE since about 2015, and during that time she has won the Women's Tag Team Championships and the SmackDown Women's Championship. Although over the past couple of years, Liv Morgan quickly rose to become a fan favorite and one of the biggest baby faces in the company. That was until her run came to a screeching halt thanks to Ronda Rousey. Following her loss to Ronda Rousey, she could never really find her footing again, and it's not her fault, it's due to all of the poor booking. And despite all of the poor booking, she still remained a fan favorite in the company. We haven't seen Liv Morgan since July after she suffered another shoulder injury. Also, Liv Morgan is only about 27 years old, so she's still super young and has a very bright future ahead of her in WWE. And what better way to bring her back to the WWE than to give her a big WrestleMania match, and if you're gonna do that, you need to have her return and win the Royal Rumble. Now, Liv Morgan would be a great person to have win the Women's Royal Rumble match to help make up for the losses that she suffered at the hands of Ronda Rousey. And if Liv Morgan comes back, she absolutely needs to go on the Raw roster, and I think she'd be a good pick to win and take on Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. They already have history, and I know, what about Becky Lynch? Becky Lynch can face Jade Cargill and put her over at WrestleMania, so that way you get Becky Lynch, Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley all on the WrestleMania card. Alright, that is going to wrap up the video. You let me know down in the comments below, who do you think is going to return in the Women's Royal Rumble match, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell in the bottom corner so that way you always get notified every single time we release a new YouTube video.